and in this special place in my heart. Having Forrest here is unbelievable. So, I'm going to talk a lot about Help First today. And at the heart of Help First is doing it without knowing what you're going to get in return. And when I came to Forrest with this crazy idea of merging our two groups, so I had a separate group and Forrest had ENRG and Todd and the team, I said, I think we just need to mash them together and it's going to be great, trust me. So if anybody has ever heard a visionary talk, that's exactly how it was. I even had a deck that I put together just for it, and it was very my love language is slide decks. But I saw this opening and what Forrest and the team were doing down here, and I knew we had to do something great. I didn't know what it was going to become, and now, we're on June 1st, we put the tweak of the branding and relaunched ENRG with, I think there were 4 chapters at the time, and 75% of them were right down here. By November, we had 60 chapters across North America. It's a nonprofit, no monetization. I mean, it was like being not on a plane and building it as we're flying it. I had a rocket engine under me. I was sitting on a stool with a rope for a seatbelt, and I was just hanging on for dear life. I got an integrator. We went up to 82 chapters. I think we're north of 82 right now. I think we had 30 more people reach out while we were at the EOS conference. We'll cross 100 chapters here, but probably before our first new birthday. It's been unbelievable. And if you did not hear the news, ENRG was just awarded basically stewardship of the EOS conference. So what does that really mean? The community now gets to run the EOS conference, which is really wild. So I'm just so grateful to be part of this incredible movement. And so today I want to share with you just a message that has been true for me. It's not a strategy, it's nothing special. It's just like, this is what I've been doing. And so as you're sitting there, I want you to ask yourself, why are you here? You had a lot of things you could have done today. And I'm not asking this like rhetorically. No, seriously, why are you here in this room? What'd you come for? Because I know that all of the information that you're going to get access to, specifically around Gino Wickman's wisdom, the author of Traction, and all his other pieces of content, it's in the books, it's in the socials. Have you ever watched Forrest Durr post on social media? He gives it all away. The podcasts that get recorded, the pictures that are on ENRG's website right now are from right here. It's all given away. So why'd you show up? It'd been a lot easier in this cold rain. I'm sure this is tough for you folks, but this was very nice for me from Wisconsin. You could have gone into the office today. Could have sat in front of a webcam again. You chose to be here. And so here's what I believe. This is my 100% optimistic side of me. So that you know that there's this energy that happens when business leaders come together around a shared language, shared values, and there's a transmission. More than knowledge, I would call it wisdom. Knowledge is so disposable now. You can have ChatGPT teach you how to, solve a calculus equation now. So knowledge is disposable, but wisdom, that's why I think you came. That's what I believe. I believe you also walked into this room thinking there's a nugget here that I need to extract because I'm trying to get my business up to the next level. That's why I think you showed up in your heart of hearts. Now, I got to be honest, I am ruthlessly realistic because the worst thing that could happen today, and this is just where I think happens when you come to events like this, you don't take anything back. You don't bring the energy home. You don't go back into your business and apply this stuff because of this really awful, nefarious, seductive thing that I'm going to call the velvet rope today. It's not a very tough adversary, but that's the challenge for everyone in the room, is this thing that I'm going to label as the velvet rope. So you're going to get access to wisdom, people who have done this before, who've literally figured out the problem you're facing, and you're going to probably have some part of you that's going to say, I'm going to do it my way. Nikki and I were talking before, and we were joking about how often, implementers aren't listened to in the session room. Evan and I were talking about integrators don't get heard sometimes. This is the velvet rope I'm talking about. And so if you can't see what it says reserved for certainty. So I want you to imagine that some of you came here and you put up your velvet rope and you sat on the other side of it and you're sitting there going, Out there, it's a little uncertain, but across this line, it's a little safer. I know what I'm doing here. I know I'm speaking right to things that you probably don't want to believe right now, and you're kind of like, yeah, right. And I'm like, that's the velvet rope. If something in your mind is going, yeah, right, that's the velvet rope I'm talking about. It shows up in other ways. It shows up in comfort. And anything I'm going to share with you today in my story has been me opening the velvet rope, stepping out past it, getting my butt kicked, and then going back across the velvet rope, feeling safe for a little while, and life isn't as good on this back side of the velvet rope. And so some of us like the velvet rope because of the VIP feeling, that success, the seduction of success. I've been there. I've done it now. I'm a VIP. I run into this. I run into entrepreneurs who are incredibly successful who hide on their side of the velvet rope. And then their business slowly tanks because they're successful. They don't need to do anything different. We've been through this. I think about security. For me, this one is last, very intentional, because my velvet rope almost always shows up around security. You know, my father taught me very simple. He did not teach me to be an entrepreneur. He got his job and he stayed there for 30 years. That was what good was for a person growing up in his household. And he said, if you have a family, it's your only job is to provide for them. You be stable, you be secure. But that's not what was in my DNA. And so I'm going to ask you, why are you here today? And I want you to think in your head that you're fighting the velvet rope. It's going to show up in the breakout sessions. It's going to show up in the conversations. And you're going to say it's a good idea. And then you're going to go back to wherever you could have been today, and that velvet rope's going to show up. And so that's our task. And if you can't quite see the words, they're hidden back there. There's a knot of fear and success and progress and all the things that hold us back from crossing that line, getting dirty again, and moving forward and getting to the next level. And so here's how we're going to fight it, because if I don't tell you how to fight it, this would be a really awful presentation. And so I made this discovery, because my entrepreneurial journey is very funny. I'm not going to have time for the whole story, but suffice it to say, I was running a karate school as an integrator 6 years ago. I came off the karate mats into a marketing agency and then was at EOS conference 4 months later speaking. So my journey's been wild. But what I realized is and it's the thesis of next level revenue, it's the thesis, it's not even the thesis, it is the truth of everything I do, is that when I asked enough people, if you had a magic wand and money was no object, what would you do with your time? And if I boil it down, you're gonna give me a million different answers, but if I boil it down, you're gonna say, I wanna help other people. I would give more time at this charity. I would spend more time with my grandkids or my kids. Why? Because you wanna help them grow and mature. And so I just stopped waiting for a magic wand. I'm just like, I'm gonna help. And so what I realized is I was working with these kids and helping them become adults, and it's weird now, because some of the kids I worked with when I was in my early 20s are now 20s, that if I just helped them and I helped their family, our karate school grow. Like, it started to grow. We didn't do marketing or sales. It didn't do it. It grew. And I just started to realize this pattern that, well, if I go out into the community and I help and I help and I help and I help and I don't, I just do the things, we grew. And so I just started to see this happen over and over and over again. And this has followed me the whole time. This is where ENRG came in. If you think about ENRG's story, it's just about helping. Period. Full stop. Let's just help each other. The thing around the community that makes the EOS community so special is that we just help each other. Full stop. And so I have done this now. Next level revenue. Why is it where it is? Because I gave more than I got. ENRG, why did it work? Because Forrest and team and all the people around ENRG gave way more than they planned to get. And so if you are fighting the velvet rope, this is where to start. Stop worrying about if you're in security or whatever. Start asking, how can I help more right now without my magic wand? Now, some of you are going to say, duh. Okay, this isn't revolutionary. I'm not trying to be revolutionary. I'm just trying to label the world as I see it. But I did find something really interesting along this journey, because I've made about every mistake that I think I could have, and they're comical. So I'm going to share that with you. My pain is going to be transferred to you in wisdom. And so the hidden wisdom I discovered is this idea of accepting more. Help first is awesome. Whenever I helped more, I got more. But then when I had more opportunities, when more things came my way, think about a little nonprofit called ENRG that started right here in the humble roots of, southern Gulf Shore. I don't know exactly what you guys call it, sorry. Now is in charge of the EOS conference. That's a big deal. Well, if I'm gonna accept more opportunity, I'm gonna need new knowledge. I'm gonna have to live outside the velvet rope. And so now as you're thinking about, okay, I can help more, sure, but can you accept more? This is why I'm here. Are you ready to accept more? There's gonna be wisdom and knowledge that will change your life right here, and you have a choice to sit on this side and be like, you know what, it's way better over here. Or you're gonna open up that rope and you're gonna step in and play. And so that's my challenge for you. And I made a little process diagram for my integrators. Any integrators in the room? I love you, thank you. And it's really simple. And my friend said we had a laser, so I get to use my laser, thankfully. But it just starts with give more. And you know what happens? I don't know the science, I don't know how it works, but you get more. And then when you get more, you get a chance to accept more knowledge, new ways of thinking. And you know what happens when you accept more and you have more? You get to give more. I just play this game all day. It's the greatest game I've ever played. Now, again, there's velvet ropes that stop you at each of these levels. There's something that gets in your way. It's just ever going, ongoing process. No matter how many times I've done this kind of loop, and it's a lot in 3 years, I keep running into the same velvet ropes. And so I want you to think about the ropes that are in your mind right now. I'm gonna try and put some names on them for you. Susie was with me at the start. I'm loyal. She helped me get to where we are. I couldn't think about a different position for her. I couldn't think about any other way. The EOS conference is way too expensive. It's too much travel. Who's ever said I don't need an integrator? I'm seeing people laugh because I know you've thought that. Who's ever, in visionaries, I'm talking to you, and CEOs, I'm talking to you, EOS is a little too dogmatic, a little too rigid. Yep, I know what I'm talking. Yeah, I said all of this crap. My energy is great. You guys can feel my passion coming across the screen, or not the screen, the real life. You can feel it, but my energy hasn't always been great. I didn't follow the wisdom outside. It wasn't ready to accept it. I had this thing in the way, this stupid velvet rope, because I was successful. And it's so seductive. Oh, you've made progress. It feels so good. Who's ever made progress and was like, I can do this. I like this side of that line. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, you're back in the trenches fighting like heck. So that's the seduction I'm talking about, the velvet rope. I know it's a nasty little bugger. And so I have to share with you, one of the hardest lessons that really pushed me into this entrepreneurial path was saying the thing. So this is one of my favorite sayings, is to say the thing. And I was not saying the thing. I was being coached, I was an employee at a digital marketing agency to not say the thing, to work around people, to work around the edges. Something in my soul felt off. I didn't feel like I was able to give. It didn't feel right. And so I actually started looking for other jobs. So I'm gonna name drop, but just know it's embarrassing. So I'm name dropping because you have to hear this name and you're gonna be like, whoa. Of 200 applicants, I was one of the final 2 to be Chris Voss, the master FBI negotiator. I was one of the final 2 to be his integrator. It's a true story. Crazy story. Just getting to meet him, going toe-to-toe with him. And you're looking at me going, integrator? I don't believe that, but this is where I thought I was. I wasn't saying the thing to myself. So I get on the final interview. His son had told me, you're in the lead. You're the lead candidate. You got this. And so I show up. His implementer was in the room. And he said something that felt off. And the velvet rope that was in my head was security of a job. I needed a job. I had to have a job. And so something was said, and I never remember the words. Gosh, I know I'm gonna run into this human another time, another way, and I'm gonna have to deal with this reality, so just bear with me for that. And I didn't say the thing. I didn't say it. And the interview ended quickly, walked out into the daylight going, oh, that did not go well. And of course, I obviously didn't get the job. So I had this painful lesson about security, and I didn't know how to name it yet. And here's what's crazy. The success I had at this marketing agency in their marketing and sales seat was giving me the chance to accept new wisdom, and I wasn't ready for it. I had the velvet rope up. I thought the answer was a job. And so here I go. Another situation. I'm sitting down with the CEO of this agency, and I told him I'm going to be your integrator. And so this is about 6 months after the Chris Voss incident. And he's like, all right, you're my integrator. Sat me down in his office. Great. I have security. I felt so good. The next morning, he 180'd me, brought in a whole different integrator, and I was just stunned. Just absolutely stunned. I never have felt so betrayed. And it was because there was something trying to tell me that it was ready to accept something new. I had given everything I could have got. I had received everything I could have received, and I was ready to accept more. So I started to build my entrepreneurial life. And so I just want you to think, this is kind of as an employee side, and I'm gonna get to the entrepreneur side, but what's your velvet rope? I'm telling you, mine was always job and security. I have others, we'll run into those, but just what's yours? You have one, face it today, it's gonna show up. And so enter the 5 pieces of Gino Wickman's content. If you don't know, these are his 5 pieces. At the bottom, you have E-Leap. I'll go back. E-Leap, and then Rocket Fuel. That's where we talk about visionary and integrator. Then we go up to Traction, which is where EOS comes from. EOS Life, and then Shine and 10 Disciplines. And so what I realized in my 2 failures of becoming an integrator, which is a funny joke now in my head, I was circling. I was not spiraling. And so every time you circle, you run into the same velvet rope, and if you don't deal with it, you just stay on the same plane. You don't level up. And so what the 5 pieces of Gino's content have allowed me to do is spiral up. And so I've been blessed with incredible opportunities because I was ready to accept that wisdom. And so this is how Gino likes it displayed. We worked on this together, funny story, a whole different aspect of my life. But in the left, you have your entrepreneur in the making, early stage entrepreneur, so 1 to 9 employees. And then Rocket Fuel, you need that integrator. We're gonna talk about integrator a lot today. I'm gonna cut to the chase, get one. I have 3, by the way, in 3 different companies. Run on EOS. I run on EOS in 3 different companies. And I work really hard, and so why do I have time for all this crazy energy stuff? Because I have this EOS life, and I'm trying to build it for everyone around me. I'm trying to give away the EOS life to everyone I can. And then I'm doing a lot, and Shine is where you restore your energy. And so let me tell you about E-Leap. So I started my entrepreneurial company. I went off with a bang. I had, Forrest has way passed me in his speed of success, but I was close in that window. I had so many clients right out the gate. Life was good. And I was just sitting there and I was like, I'm challenging people to grow their businesses, but I've decided not to scale mine. This didn't feel right to me. This was not helping them most. And so I said, I'm gonna scale up my company. Couldn't afford EOS yet. I was trying to run on EOS, mediocrely is how I would describe it. Even though I'd been in the community, I'd been at EOS conference 3 times. Of all the people, I should have been good at running on EOS, but obviously I couldn't. And so I found E-Leap Academy, and I went in there and they have you do this 25 yes assessment. How many of the 8 mistakes are you avoiding? 8 must-dos of an entrepreneurial, early stage entrepreneur, 1 to 9 employees, and then the 9 stages of business. I walked in going, I'm a 23 out of 25. I was awesome. Anybody see the velvet rope coming? Here it comes. And so Ryan Henry, bless his heart, not that kind of bless your heart. Forrest and Amber and a few of us went out to dinner last night. We were talking about, the Southernisms, and we had to entwine some of our silliness, and I didn't know that bless your heart was not nice. No, thankful for Ryan Henry. He kicked my butt. He just kicked my butt. So by class 1, I was 23 out of 25. By class 2, I sunk down to a 12, but I was finally accepting the new knowledge. I didn't have processes. I wasn't really running on EOS. I was just kind of doing the parts that I liked. And all along, I'm just trying to give. And so then this happened. And this one's one of the most painful. So I'd had a fractional integrator, not saying fractionals are good, bad, right, or wrong, just saying I had one. Sweet human, incredible human, broke her back trying to help us. We were flat for 7 months though. I went off like a rocket ship and then flattened out. And I was going kind of insane because I was trying to do the right thing, trying to be help first, trying to give her everything she needed to be successful. It wasn't working, we didn't have rocket fuel. And Ryan and I were talking about this during the E-Leap Academy. We talked through the issues in our business, and I go, yeah, man, I can't. And he's like, wait. You have an integrator problem? I know for a fact you are billing two of the best integrator firms on the planet. One in the full-time search side, one in the fractional integrator side, and you have an integrator problem? Boy, did I feel stupid. Boy, did that velvet rope look real bad, because I was successful. I had an integrator. I was doing all the things. That's when I was ready to accept more. And it was so painful because I actually got another fractional integrator who came in, and she's well known in the community, so any implementer would know this name. And she was in there for 30 days, and she looked at one of my CROs. And she goes, he's your integrator. He's been here the whole time. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And I accepted this truth that I needed a full-time, I needed the right person, I needed them in the right seat. He was in the wrong seat, right person. And you know what happened? We spiraled up. We spiraled up so fast because I was facing this velvet rope of, I'm trying to be loyal, I'm trying to be a good person, I'm trying to create security, and I was scared. That was the truth. And so are you giving? So every step along the way, I'm trying to give. Every step along the way, I'm getting more when I give. And then now I'm just in this ritual of trying to accept and name. So today, please name. And so I thought I was running on EOS. There's a big difference between knowing the answer and then doing it. So a lot of you have read The Brilliance of Gino in the Traction book, and it feels so stupidly simple, anybody could run on it. If you don't have an implementer, and I get nothing, trust me, no implementer like, hey, thanks, pal. I get nothing from this. If you're not using that third person in the room to call you out from that velvet rope, you're done. You're gonna get stuck. Now, there are some miracle stories where they escape that gravity without. Great, woohoo. I'm not a miraculous I'm just not a smart guy. I just have to keep doing the shtick and listening, because otherwise I wouldn't get there. So I fall in the 99%, not the 1%. And so I challenge you there. What's your velvet rope? And so why are you here? I think part of it is that thing called EOS life, right? Being compensated appropriately, working with people you love, time for other passions. Well, I'm living proof of it by just accepting more and then keep giving. Energy, I just kept giving. And now we've got this incredible opportunity. And so what does that mean for my team? It hopefully means a great bit of opportunity for them. So if you're not gonna do it for yourself, whatever it is, do it for your team. They deserve this. Who knows what it's like to be in an entrepreneurial company when you're just like, it's a ragtag bunch of heroes. We're gonna go in, we're gonna be a little Guardians of the Galaxy, and we're gonna just figure it out. I love those stories. They deserve it too. And so I want you to be selfishly selfless. I want you to not need permission to start giving more. You'll get more. It's scientific fact. I haven't been able to prove it, but it's true. And then you'll be ready to accept more. Watch out for those velvet ropes. And so finally, the fifth piece of Gino's content that I've gone through, you may or may not know at this point, 2025 was a little nuts for me. I really separated from my company. I was down to 1 day a week as visionary of next level revenue. I was spending a lot of time and energy, and I have a third venture called EMC. We're not even gonna talk about that today, because it's an awesome thing, but it's a lot. And I was exhausted. I was not me. I had nothing left to give at the end of quarter 4. I had to fix my energy, which is funny because I feel like I say energy in every word I say, but I had to fix it. And so the 10 disciplines became my guiding light. I just started to slow down and take time. And man, did that change everything. It feels like the stupidest thing. From a guy who likes to go fast, everything about 10 disciplines irks me the wrong way. But then I'm like, where's the velvet rope? Which whisper am I getting that makes me feel so comfortable and safe over here? Because the couches are always better on the other side of the velvet rope. You guys know what I'm talking about. And so if you're going through this journey, I just want you to find where you are. Do you know the system of EOS, but you're an early stage 1 to 9 employees, and you just don't know how to be an entrepreneur yet? Start there. In Rocket Fuel, you either have it or you don't. You're either going up to the moon or you're not. Every time I've made an integrator change, things took off. Traction EOS, I thought I knew it better. This is the truth. Here's my velvet rope of ego saying, Yeah, I know this stuff. I didn't. And you have permission because of US Life to get more, because when you get more for your team, you get to give more. They get to accept more. So please go get it for them. And you can't give if you're empty. So if you're feeling empty, and I know entrepreneurs are run down, I know what it takes to make that thing work. And so why are you here? I hope you're here to give more. Faith is spelled R-I-S-K. You gotta risk. Who's been screwed by a really terrible person after you gave them everything? Keep going. Me too. When you give more, you do get more. It's magnetic. Who's ever found that really weird situation where you just gave to somebody, nothing came of it, but all of a sudden out of left field comes this opportunity that you never dreamed of? It's because you're giving. And then who's been on that velvet rope not ready to accept more? I just shared with you I am. So please be open to it today. And so what do you do next today? Please connect. There is energy and wisdom in this room. Engage. Rip that thing down and step through it, that nefarious little rat. Please go to the conference, because that's where we all meet up every year and exchange that information and that energy, and then give, get, and accept. That's my ask of you. I hope you have a wonderful day and at least moderately supercharged for this morning.
Kyle, thank you so much. What a great way to start the day. I awkwardly enough was sitting behind the velvet rope over there when you started to say, and it really is a comfy couch over there, so he's not wrong about that. What a great way to start.